All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, a new month, right? We have a new theme talking about a community this month. One of those primary factors that Bill and I like to focus on for sure, and all of you like to talk about, read about. So, recapping Monday's email, kind of three things that I would suggest come from community in really the best ways, significant ways. One is just connection with others, right? When you have this proximity of people, you have an opportunity to really do good things and feel connection when you're near them. Also, meaning, when you have a chance to be around people and have some shared values with them. And things that come out of that are activities or sense of service or other things that really does kind of instill this sense of meaning that's able to come from that. And then identification, just this ability to associate an experience. Now, it's both sides, whether it's a good experience in life that you have, a shared stage life, something else, or even a bad experience. Oftentimes, identification is what carries people through the ups and downs of life, makes good times even better to share those things with people. And when it's identification with events that you really don't want to experience or be associated with, it helps give you support to be able to get through that. So identification is significant as well. Really challenging people this week to examine kind of their support network and look at that and maybe prioritize a few relationships that either aren't as strong as you'd like them to be, or try and solidify some of those relationships that are very strong to you, just to really try and focus and invest in that. Find a couple of hours to just prioritize those with some communication, maybe some time together and other things. So it's a good focus as we start community, is to solidify the community you already have around you. Thinking about friendships and those connections, right? How people can have capacity for those friendships. Well, how much of those friends exist and everything else. So I came across a Pew Research study from 2023 when it talked about friendships and what adult population says that they have. So here's some stats related to that. A narrow majority of adults, 53%, say they have between 1 and 4 close friends. So the majority of people say they have that. But just 7% of adults say they have one good friend, only 7%. And then the people who say they have 4 good friends is 13%. So a significant share of Americans say they have 5 or more, 38%. So you can just kind of hear that about where you are. If you have 5 or more friends, that's 38% of Americans. 4 close friends, 13%. And if you have just one, it's 7%. So just trying to think about that as you think through your own support network. But the reality is 8% say they have no close friends. Okay, this is October of 2023, so this isn't, say, pre-COVID kind of stuff. This is present all around us. So almost 1 in 10 people feel like they're disconnected. So you can see why community is a good theme to be able to have. Those 50 and older are more likely than their younger counterparts to be highly satisfied with friendship, 77% to 67%. I would suppose that is related to longevity, when you've had a chance to develop those over time and have a significant slew of memories to be able to share. It's going to increase the volume. And so that kind of paints this picture of why community and friendships really do pay dividends down the line. In terms of topics that friends talk about, start with this one. Overall, only 24% of Americans talk about their mental health often or extremely often with others. So only 24%, okay? A quarter of the population. But just 15% of men talk about their mental health often or extremely often, and just 31% of women. So both of those, right, in terms of being biased as a counselor, really low overall, really low. We want it to be more popular than that. Just for reference point, 58% of adults talk about work together, right? And this is often or extremely often. 58% of adults. Interestingly enough, 61% of women talk about that work often or extremely often, but just 54% of men do that. So we can just, suppose where that comes from, whether people are tired of talking about work, so they don't want to talk about it more, um, or why women like to talk about a variety of things more than men, so maybe that number's higher. You can read into that what you want to be able to do. And then just finishing with one that I thought was really good. 24% of adults talk about sports. Okay? Only 13% of women talk about sports. That's why sports talk radio is dominated by men, I'm sure. And 37% of men talk about sports. Hey, we can trust everything that's on the internet. Pew, right? Pew Research, pretty popular. Most people have heard of them as they go through that. So maybe whether you think about any of those numbers, you're like, if the sports sounds too low, is mental health sound too low? Mental health sounds pretty accurate, just in terms of only 24% of people talk about it a lot, right? It's a very personal topic, or they're afraid to talk about it. So we'll assume that, and the work one sounded about accurate. 60% of people overall talk about work when they're together with their friends. So let's assume that sports is the same way as well. So be thinking about that as you're connecting with your friends, or when you have conversations of things. There's a link posted, talks about the other aspects that people will talk about as well, but I just picked some significant ones. So related to the question for us, what's the most enjoyable topic of conversation that you have between you and your friends? Or whether it's not enjoyable, you say the most popular one you have with your friends. What shows up on your list? If it's not sports, or if it's not work, and if it's not mental health, like the three I've referenced, what is yours? Dogs and kids. Dogs and kids. Others? Projects. A lot of stage of life stuff. Right? Indicates that. Yeah, travel and vacations. Those are good. Those would be, again, these are all enjoyable. Right? Could have asked, what are the non-enjoyable conversations you have with friends? It's probably really low, right? Because people don't want to talk about stuff that brings them down, or is stressful, or something else. So work, sports, friends, vacation, travel, dogs, right? Popular stuff.
Can we talk about cats?
But what? Because I ruled kids. Did I forget kids? I wonder what that means. Second question, just related to this overarching thing of community, right? And if we say that 8% of adults don't have a good friend, what helps you create or deepen or strengthen a relationship? Like when people don't have friends, what do you advise for them to do to make friends? And I'm talking to a room full of adults, right? So it's not just, hey, at gym class, go over and introduce yourself, right? We don't have those opportunities that kids have for all those years in those rooms. You guys are not cooperating with me today. Feisty. Is this what it's like for you, Bill? How many reps? This is the equivalent of mine. How many reps? Yeah. So yes, besides coming to the gym, always the right answer.
Well, that is probably what you suggest. That is like, find a gym, like find something to do where you can like talk to people and
Yeah. Yeah. Those are all
find a way to serve.
those are all good things. I will tell you that the invitation also has to involve, then I'll go with you, and I will, and you have to be consistent with that. Because just talking from the unique standpoint I have of talking to people all day long, when you say, yeah, go volunteer, go to church, go to a gym, what are the answers? Oh, that's too much, too big, too unknown, scary. Going to a gym means there's rows of 14 people and someone's yelling at me from the front of the classroom, right? Going to church means I'm going to be preached at all the time, or I'm going to not fit in. If I'm going to volunteer, I don't have any skills to volunteer, right? So these are all good ideas, but I would suggest just tie it in of I'll go with you, or I'll be there, or let me keep meeting with you for several weeks. Maybe you have to invest in that invitation for weeks and months before someone actually makes that bridge and it covers that gap.
Don't you think as an adult, people want to meet people, I don't know, just go do it. I don't know.
People are not like you, Katrina.
I don't, well, I don't meet people. I just do my own thing.
Just do it. People are not Nike. They don't just do it. Yeah. I just think that the
Like, you're not, no, go do something you won't like and then figure it out.
people are too intimidated by that in general, I would say. In general, it's too overwhelming, too uncertain. People want to have confidence. They want to have a vision of what's going on. So it keeps them isolated, right? So obviously, this is part of why we're talking about community this month, to brainstorm that, to encourage all of you, to give you some ideas. So when you have people you care about around you that aren't joining you in the places that bring significance, again, meaning, identity, connection, we'll have some chance to reel some people in and let them see how life can be better being here. Some final comments. I would say that community and the connections that come from it help strengthen a passion for life across all areas. So even those topics we talked about, right? Talking about kids can be exciting, can be able to talk about that, can share, can give some advice, right? Back and forth, different life stages about what will work. So it helps people navigate the most challenging areas of life. Secondly, people within communities can help you overcome negative thinking and doubts. Certainly, you guys mentioned, yeah, come to the gym. People are nervous and able to do that. So when you're able to invite them and be here with them, they suddenly have a chance to get a real image of what it can be like to be encouraged, to be accepted for where they are exactly the way they are. That would go a long way as well for them to overcome negative thinking and doubts. And then often, I would say that communities center around really good things like positive activities, healthy choices, living intentionally, maximizing your time. And so community really does a good job to prioritize the right thing and help people rise up above things that can be unhealthy or destroy them, right? A lot comes from when you're isolated and you're involved in things that rob you of joy and passion, all of that. So community helps increase the chances of those healthy activities, healthy choices, and really good things that build momentum for life. And so that's how we're going to talk about it throughout the month. So a good way to kick it off this month. We have 3 weeks left, so we'll talk about different ways to broaden and deepen those things. So everybody has a chance to experience that for themselves, but also, again, be empowered to tell other people about how to get that community, whether it's here or some other place in their life, in a better way. So thanks for your active participation this morning, and have a good workout today.